Hello, guys, and welcome back to the LFC transfer room for your instant post-match reaction on the Liverpool vs Manchester City game, where the Reds come from 1-0 down to draw 1-1, thanks to a Trent Alexander-Arnold goal. Nice little shush at the end, which I'm sure you will be seeing a lot over the next week. But joined by three lovely gentlemen here. Dean, I'll start with you. Quick thoughts on the game, mate. Happy with the result in the end?
Buzzing, mate. Like we said before, 23 games in a row they've won at home in all competitions. You break that streak, do a little shush at the end. It's like, eat that. Like at the end of the day, we all said at the start we would have taken a draw going into this game after the international break, where our lads come back tired. They've had a nice 2-week holiday with their injuries. But yeah, 12:30 because we love our early kickoffs. Buzzing with the point, mate. Game was a bit lackluster, but we'll take it.
Yeah, Dan, as Dean's just said, no standout performers, but their first time they haven't won in all competitions at the Etihad this year. So, you've got to look at the positives, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I actually thought the whole game was a positive, to be honest. There's a lot of history with 12:30 kickoff scorers and being poor performances, not just great results, but the performances have been really poor. And I would actually say in what is effectively the most difficult away game of the season, we played really, really well. We managed City's ability to kind of control games and surround the match from the start. They had one chance, which unfortunately was from our own problem, and they ended up scoring from it. To be honest, that really worried me. They did, and that Haaland, that is the difference for them. We had some good chances. It was very difficult with them playing free with the three at the back. They were defensively really sound. So yeah, really good performance though. Few players who didn't stand out at all, and some probably weren't quite ready yet. But I have to say, of the two fans, we will be massively the happier of the two. That this is points dropped for them as opposed to points dropped for us. We've got Anfield later in there next year, and that'll be the big difference where we can normally get a good result out of them.
Yeah, definitely. Andres, happy with the result in the end?
As well. I know Klopp hates those 12:30 kickoffs, but I think American fans hate them a little bit more because it's a 7:30 kickoff for us. And I was expecting to have just wasted my morning watching that match. And so I want to say thank you to Trent for making sure that was not a waste of a morning. And also thank you to Darwin Nunez for almost turning it into a WWE match at the end with Pep. I always love his entertainment that he brings to every match, even when he was subbed off and not on the pitch. So honestly, I'm very happy with the draw here. We have not seen great results at the Etihad as of recent. And if you told me going the game that you can just take a draw, I'm taking that any day of the week.
Yeah, definitely. So, again, guys, if you're just joining, make sure you do leave a like on the stream, get your comments in, bring up as much as possible. And also, again, subscribe. We do streams daily, and we'll have another one at 7:30 today with Richie. We'll start off at the beginning of the game. The lineup, I'll be the first to admit, I think most of it picks itself apart from two positions. I think we all kind of knew Costas was going to start with Gomez being not 100%. And the two main positions were left centre mid and left wing. Klopp, in my opinion, went with the two wrong decisions for that. I don't think Curtis Jones was anywhere near ready enough to play a game of this magnitude. I also, in general, even when he's fully fit, probably wouldn't trust him, but especially not just coming off an injury. And as I've said numerous times, starting Diogo Jota is the most pointless thing any Liverpool manager can do, because 95% of the time, the guy just does nothing and then gets hooked, which is exactly what happened again. He is by far our best impact sub off the bench. When he comes on the game, when he comes on in that 60, 65 minutes, he makes an impact because defenders are tired and will make mistakes. He doesn't get that opportunity when he starts the game. And Luis Diaz is a much better starter as well. But Dean, do you think Klopp made mistakes starting them two? I think he did. I know our chat's a bit mixed, but I think them two in the first half were by far the worst players on the pitch.
From the outside looking in, you'd say yeah. But I think what we have to bear in mind, we don't know the fitness levels coming from the back of the international break, the miles they have to travel. You don't know if they're carrying anything. You don't know if they're like only 50% ready to go. So I do agree with you in regards to Diaz over Jota. I don't rate Jota that highly as a starter. He's very much a moments player. But if you said to me before the game, who would start at fullback, I would have had Gomez. But if Gomez started, then Diaz has to start. But I also flip that round with Tsimikas and Jota, especially away from home. You need a bit of balance on that side. I think if you had Diaz and Tsimikas away from home, you're going to expose yourself. Granted, in the second half, they did do quite well together, but we were taking the game a bit more to City when we were 1-0 down. In regards to Jones, I think it's very much how Klopp was going to approach it. If you're going to control the game and control the ball, Jones is the better player for that. Gravenberch breaks the lines more, likes to get forward. Granted, in the end, that was how we broke him down a bit more. We were breaking the lines, trying to get into the box. But I think he wanted to go with a bit more conservative approach, control the play to see if we can get through possession. Unfortunately, it didn't work. Curtis Jones gave the ball away a few times. But in the end, it ended up being the right substitution to getting Gravenberch on. He made an impact and helped towards the goal. But I do agree with what you were saying, Charlie, but about Curtis. He did have a poor game, but he still hasn't really ever gone back from that suspension, which is a really strange one. Normally it's an injury, but he's not settled back into the side since that red card. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely feel that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I said in our chat, it might cause a few debates, but I genuinely think Curtis Jones is just a bench option for Liverpool. I will hold my hands up if in 5 years I'm wrong and he's starting every game and banging goals in. But I think his long-term future at Liverpool is probably a bench player who comes on, rotates, and plays, cup games or, Champions League games when we're through, or, if we're not in the Champions League. But that's not a bad thing. You know how many players would kill for that in world football. We've seen there's so many players who are happy with that. And if he's happy with that, great. I'd starting him in this game. And, Jamie has said, that Gravenberch is a must start, and I think he come on, he helped us drive forward a little bit more. The pressure was taken off, and as well, Dan, I'm not sure about you, but I think Kostas Tsimikas, we've got to give him his flowers today. I thought a lot of people really were worried and saying he was the weak link. He shoved Phil Foden out that entire game, and they had absolutely nothing off that left-hand side, did they?
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest with you, it probably lends itself, kind of going back to the point. I think Costa performed really well in this game, and I actually gave him a lot of sort of praise in the games previously. Is that he is aware that he's not playing up to the standard that's expected, and he's aware that he's not going out there and putting in the level of fitness that he probably wants himself to do, which is unfortunate. Today, you had players like Phil Foden, if you can put people on roller skates at the back, and he played really well. And I think it could have lended itself to the reason why Jones started, is that Jones offers that sort of more kind of defensive natured player in front of him on that left-hand side of the midfield to just give him a bit more coverage. And that might have been why we've gone with Jones. Of course, we're not privy to what the injuries were prior to the international break. It was kind of like a knee injury and like just kind of quite around. And that could have also, as Dean said rightly, we don't know how fit these players are at what point. The sports scientists will probably dictate when they can start and how many minutes they can play. Gravenberch is for me the first choice left centre midfielder, and that's on him. That's not because I'm against Curtis Jones. It's because he has come into the game and taken his opportunity from that point from the red card, like Dean said. It's on Jones to get it back. And he's getting the opportunity to get that position back, but he's not taking it. That's unfortunate. And he might just be one of those players who just needs minutes. But I don't think Gravenberch is going to give him them, because Gravenberch is being able to come into the team and just hit the ground running immediately. And, we forget he's 21, isn't he? So it's unbelievable that he's got that talent now, and what we might see in 2 or 3 years' time under Klopp, kind of developing him. Jota, on the other hand, again, he doesn't start games regularly well, in all fairness, and performs well. Ones that pick out for me is when we played Bournemouth early on in the season. He was absolutely dreadful the entire game, but still scored. And he has that ability in him. It's a wonderful, brilliant ability to be terrible but score goals. but you want him to be influential in the matches, and he has been on a good run of games recently where he started and he scored, Brentford being the previous one before the international break. And then also, because Diaz being in South America, did he take the risk on saying, I'm going to start Nunes, Allison, McAllister and Diaz, who've all been in South America, and who knows how tired they might well be. So, yeah, it was a good performance from those players, but as you can say, it's kind of hindsight now where we could kind of maybe Gravenberch started and he could have been terrible. And defensively, we could have had loads on that left-hand side problems because Jones wasn't there. So it is hard, and I can only go off what I can see. And what I can see so far is I don't think Curtis Jones or Diogo Jota are starters in our team, in my opinion. I think they are our bench options for now.
Yeah, definitely. Andres, I'll let you kind of finish up on the starting team. Were you happy with it, or were the flags flying straight away?
It was definitely the lineup that I expected to see with the travel that occurred. It made more sense that Jota was going to be picked over Diaz because of coming from South America. I agree with, I think the preferred starting team is Gravenberch in there and Diaz in there. But I think obviously the Diaz decision was a lot influenced by that international play. I think what Klopp was thinking with Curtis Jones is just based on the stats we see of him just retaining the most possession, high passing percentages, passes completed, that he was looking for that comfortable option there, which then today wasn't really there. He came under the press a lot, looked a little nervy at times. And then the difference we see when Gravenberch comes on with that bit of forward play that he was adding to it was night and day. Honestly, this is why we signed a guy like Gravenberch, is to add this new level of competition for that midfield spot there. Obviously, now Curtis Jones no longer has that comfortable knowing that I'm going to play week in, week out now because there's somebody else there that wants those minutes, and he's playing far better than Curtis Jones is. So this is, for me, it's great to see how this signing is working out, how it's creating this competition. Also, we've gotten a really great midfielder that's young and is going to keep growing. So yeah, I agree with those. I was happy when those subs came in the second half. I would prefer it if they had start, but it makes sense why they didn't.
Yeah, definitely. Before we continue, guys, make sure you do leave a like on the stream if you are new. Helps us a lot, grow the channel and get out to more reds. Also subscribe with the bell notifications on. We stream every single day and get videos out as much as possible. Okay, we'll move on to the first Manchester City goal. Poor attempted pass by Alisson, I think we can all agree. But on one hand, how many times have we seen Alisson pull that off? I think that's one of the first times, he hasn't pulled it off. He's got Mo Salah steaming ahead of him one-on-one. He's got to go for it and he miskicks it. I think the main issue after that is the fact that Szoboszlai and Trent decided to make Ake into prime Messi and just stood there while he dribbled past them. And then, Matip and Van Dijk, just no one picks up Haaland. Alisson nearly gets a hand on it. Poor goal to give away because there's so many individual mistakes that lead to it. It felt like, I feel like there were some people in our chat blaming Alisson. I think that's really, really harsh. There's there's two different phases after that, which could have prevented the goal, which were individual errors. But Dean, a sloppy goal to give away when considering, I think we were in the game during that time.
Yeah, the game was really tight, 50-50. And I think when you go to the Etihad and you're trying to play that style, if you're going to concede, it's got to be through a bit of quality, a bit of magic. And unfortunately, it was down to defensive mistakes and initially a mistake from Alisson. The kick, you want him to make that pass to Salah, you're screaming at him, get the ball there, we've got a counter-attack opportunity. And you're going to have the odd one that doesn't come off. Unfortunately, it's in one of the biggest games of the season. It does lead to a goal. Initially, I blamed Alisson because you naturally do, because he's the start of it. But it lands to Ake wanted. And the only thing I can think that was going through Szoboszlai's mind and Trent is like, oh, he's a defender. You'll just pass it sideways or he'll pass it the other way. He won't come forward. No one obviously expects him to play a pass through to Haaland, and where Van Dijk and Matip just don't react in time. And we know with Erling Haaland, it only takes a second and he's in behind and he's scored, he's wheeling away. is just world class. I think it just literally comes down to that, just not reacting in time after the initial mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, anything to expand on there? It's just a poor one, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we see Allison play that ball 50 times a year, don't we? And unfortunately, the one occasion, to go and blame, if anyone says, oh, that's Allison's fault, it's like, it's not, it's a team fault because there was multiple errors that have occurred to get that situation even happening, which was, yeah, his foot's come loose. It wasn't a bad kick. He's just not got the grounding when he's gone to kick the ball and it's gone high. That's fine. But there's two players there who probably should have put a tackle in. And instead, both of them kind of, as Dean quite rightly says, probably automatically assumed he wasn't going to do what he actually did, and he did. And he's played a great ball through, which was true, it was, but Matip and Van Dijk, he's right there in between you, and no one wanted to pick him up. No one was deciding that I'm the man. And unfortunately, with Haaland, as Dean rightly says, he only needs one chance and he scores, and that's what he did. But for the rest of the game, that's it. That is really it. There wasn't anything else. But we were, unfortunately, the creators of our own downfall in that situation. But what we didn't do was let it get to us and let it get to our head and let us get to a point where we then go and see another one, or then kind of, just basically shut up shop. So yeah, it was disappointing, but it's not the end of the world. I don't think anyone had a howler there. It wasn't a great display from us as a team.
Yeah, Andres, I think for the majority of the game, we kept Haaland out pretty well. Even Jeremy Doku kind of, yes, he completed a lot of dribbles, but where did they really end up? He dribbled past somebody and then played it backwards. I can't really remember a moment where he threatened us. I know he got the man of the match on SofaScore and Man City gave him the man of the match, but did he have an impact on the game? Not really. I think Trent dealt really well with him. I think Mo Salah as well did really well to come back and help Trent a lot of the time. And as well, that midfielder who was there. But, it's a shame how we conceded, but they're the risks you play when, we play the type of football, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I have to agree. We did great against Doku. Don't agree with him getting man of the match. I don't know how that's happened. We had that perfect defensive plan. Trent was going to cover him going down the line. Somebody comes back and watches him cutting inside. And like you said, Salah did that a lot. And we just stopped all those chances. It looked like he was getting down that area, but he wasn't really creating much. And just going back to the Allison and the whole lead up to that goal, like we were saying, with a guy like Haaland, it takes just that one chance. Like, we did a great job defending him throughout the match. He wasn't really doing much after that, but he gets that one chance. He's bound to get a goal. Was it 50 goals now in 48 appearances? Just disgusting, honestly. And the whole thing about blaming Allison for that goal, like, if you look up the pitch, Salah only had Doku in front of him because Ake was all the way up. So that's a chance that we've seen Allison hit that ball and Salah runs through, and it's a one-on-one in goal. It's the perfect chance to go for. Of course, it goes a little high, and then I don't know what Trent and Szoboszlai decided to start debating between, like, who's the uglier twin, and they both don't close down the Ake there. And of course, he makes a good pass. And I think just the one thing that Dan was saying is that it's great that after we conceded that goal, we didn't just go heads down and then let that become a 2-0 before the half. And then, to be fair, I think Allison made up for that little bit of an error of the pass with that save against, I'm pretty sure it was Foden, right towards the end of the half. He had a pretty good chance on goal that Allison just got a hand on. So I was happy to see that the team, it happens with other teams when you get that unlucky goal that goes against you, and then it just turns into snowballs into a second goal right before the end of the half.
Yeah, no, I think we did well not to concede another one, but I'm not going to be honest, it was a bit of a boring game. I don't think many teams had any chances, like really big, clear-cut chances. Even I know people have criticised Darwin Núñez for not taking his one in the first half, but kind of got swarmed pretty quickly. Maybe Haaland does well there, but it is what it's a 12:30 game. Did we expect any less? Let's be honest. I don't know why they've put the biggest game of the season, at 12:30. It's ridiculous, and I'm sure we could go on about it forever. But again, guys, make sure you do leave a like on the stream. Also, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Next point I want to go over, Dean. Big moments in the game, which I'm sure a lot of Manchester City fans will be going on about for a while, was when a corner came in and Alisson went to collect the ball, got a nudge in the back maybe from Ake, and Ruben Diaz put it in. Disallowed, VAR checked it. Now, we've been having a debate. I'll give you my point of view first. Foul all day, in my opinion. Now, would that be a foul if it wasn't a goalkeeper? No. However, we know goalkeepers are protected, and that's just how football is in modern day football. That goes to that decision happens in every other team. It does. Like, I don't care if you don't think it's a foul anywhere else in the pitch. On a keeper, that is a foul. You know, Alisson's jumped up, got the ball, but at the same time, he's being nudged in the back. Yes, it's not a massive nudge, but Ake has his arms out. He barely attempts to get the ball and pretty much jumps after it. I think it's a foul all day, but I think we're probably going to be seeing a lot of debate over the next few days about this. What were your thoughts on it?
Oh, we'll have a lot of debates about it from other people because it's Liverpool, as it always is. But I will only say one word. If I was a neutral fan, it's soft, very soft. We were fortunate, but it is a foul in the rule of the game. So I know it's a bit sitting on the fence, a bit of a cop-out response. It is a foul due to the rules, but it is very soft. We do kind of get away with it. If his arm is not that high, they don't give the foul as simple as that. It wasn't one of Alisson's best games. He had a couple of moments where he did save us, whether it's through the travelling or that bit of an injury picks up towards the end. It's like beforehand of that. Yeah, his kicking was off and he didn't look confident. Was it when he had the sun in his face as well? Was that end one to the sun in his face? That wouldn't have helped. But yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a cop-out answer, but it is a foul. But I was very relieved because I thought it wasn't at first. But when I saw the arm, I was like, they can't overrule it because it's not clear and obvious. But it is soft.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say your last name. Malika said it's the same with De Gea. I think that's completely different. I don't know if you remember that. I can't remember who it was, but he jumped up with his arms by his side. If Akanji jumped up with his arms by his side, I would be the first to say that's never a foul. Alisson goes down too easy. It is the fact he jumps, and yes, you know, some people will argue you have to jump with your arms, but that arm goes into the side of Alisson. Where do you draw the line? You know, Dan, I by your eyes, I might see where you stand on, but you know, this has and is going to be a debate forever. Are goalkeepers too protected? You will have half of the people saying, you know, they have to be more protected. You'll have the other side saying it should be the same, and that's not a foul anywhere else. But quickly, what are your thoughts on it? Foul, no foul? Was City robbed, as they'll probably say?
We never get decisions like that. So, yeah, it was never a foul in a month of Sundays. So I'll take it. I'll say it with chest. That was never a foul. You should have had a goal, but guess what? You ain't having it. And unfortunately, on this situation, it didn't go in your favour, did it? So for me, all I care about is that if that was the other end and that was Darwin Núñez, I'd have been screaming, saying, how is that a foul? How is that a foul? It's not. It's not a foul. It's a soft situation, but we were saved by the fact the referee was so quick to blow his whistle and go, yeah. And then VAR, as you quite rightly says, because it's not clear and obvious, then there's nothing they can do. There's nothing that they can ever intervene with, and the field decision stays. So for me, we got away with one, but ultimately, I'm made up, to be honest, because it's about time we start getting some soft decisions.
Yeah, I mean, Andres, I'll admit it was soft, but I still think it was a foul. What about you?
I've seen, goals like this disallowed because somebody has the arm on the keeper. Then I've seen the exact same play, arm on keeper, goal, ball goes in, and then ref calls it a goal. I think I would appreciate just some consistency, but that's just my in general complaint with the whole Premier League reffing system is that there is no consistency whatsoever across the board. All I'm going to say is to any City fan that's complaining about the ref and that decision, it was Chris Kavanagh reffing. You're trying to say he's pro Liverpool. Are you kidding me? Chris Kavanagh. I was shocked that he decided to disallow that goal. I thought for sure he was going to allow that. And so I was just happy that, soft or not, I'll take it. And I'll hear City fans cry about it. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, I mean, Julian Alvarez should have been booked in the first half for dragging Salah down on the counter attack. So it's decisions go for you, decisions go against you. It is what it is. I don't really think that one is deserving of a massive outrage, in my opinion. I think it's just kind of how the referee sees it. Okay, finally we'll move on to the Liverpool goal. Mohamed Salah with another assist. Obviously, Trent did most of the work this one, but absolute stunner by Trent. Played well all game. I think, again, I'll mention it again. I think he played Jeremy Doku really well. Yes, he got past him sometimes, but Trent recovered pretty much every single time. Pointless dribbles or don't win your games, which is what we saw today. But Dean, great goal by Trent. I think it had to. The only way we were going to score is if somebody just did that, basically. Just, scored from absolutely nothing, because that's what it was. We picked it up wide, drove into the box, shot bottom corner. We weren't going to score with a fancy goal or a ball into the box. It was just one of them games, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It comes during a period of the game where I felt like everyone was asleep. The commentators were asleep. The fans were asleep. The game was at such a slow pace. And then all of a sudden, a ball gets whipped in by Diaz. It goes out wide, whether it was intended for Salah or not. He picks it up. Trent just makes the decision, you know what, I'm just going to run into the box, see what happens. Even at that point, I'm sitting there, I'm just watching it. I'm like, nothing's really happening, because the game's just been so slow for about 25 minutes. And it wasn't until he literally hits it and I go, in a minute, and it just flies into the corner. What a finish from a fullback. Like, we know Trent is a special fullback / midfielder, play anywhere. But yeah, it was a really strange one, but you cannot deny it. That's nearly a Haaland finish. You know what I mean? It's a top quality striker finish, the way it goes flying into the bottom corner. But yeah, really strange one from City's point of view as well. There's no one closed us down. No one got near us. It was it emphasized the game for me, how slow and laboured it was through various reasons, like I said, the international break and the 12:30 kickoff. But it came at the perfect time for us. It was just after a save, we're all block by Alisson or McAllister at the other end. It was 26 seconds. It got down to the other end of the pitch, and we scored from it with 10 minutes left to go. Vital timing for a vital goal, for a vital point in the end.
Yeah, Dan, agree with that. It's this game won't be looked at like the other ones, like the 4-3 against City, even when they've smashed us, the 3-2, I think it was last season or the year before. But a draw is a draw, and we've got Trent to thank for that.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, it was right. The actual performance and the entertainment value of that game was really low, and it lends itself to what Jurgen Klopp actually said before the game kicked off. And he said, "I don't know who's making these decisions, because this is not going to be entertaining." Both, the players themselves, as much as they were trying, it wasn't an entertaining game in the slightest. But going into that goal, Jeremy Doku, Mr. Bournemouth that he is, he's been given man of the match by them for what? It's great when you're doing all these runs and you're going past people and stuff like that, but ultimately this is a results-based business, and with no assists and no goals, and it meant for nothing then, did it? And the difference being is today Trent, who was the person on the receiving end of being run past, because he was always going to, was the one who came up and delivered. And we've seen so many times recently when we've taken shots similar to that, sort of outside the box, kind of at the edge of the box, and they've gone flying off into the rosette. Gravenberch was the difference here, because when he picks the ball up in that midfield and then puts us on the turn, he's the one who's driving forward. So it goes to lend itself to what Jurgen Klopp has been doing all season, which is making great substitutes. He's bringing in players who are impacting the game, and kind of goes back to what we said before, that maybe we would have liked to see Jota coming on and influencing the game like we've seen him do, and maybe we would like to have seen some of those players doing that. And the goal, if Kevin De Bruyne is scoring it, we're seeing it on replay forever and a day, because it's gone past 4 players straight in that bottom corner against Ederson, and he's took it first time. He's literally just gone, right, that'll do for me. Hits it as sweetly as you possibly can, keeps it low, keeps it down, and it's a great goal for us, and it vindicates sort of the fact that we were creating chances, But the only way we were going to score was, unfortunately, from a little piece of magic, and that's what we got. And I'm glad that we can have that as a team, because we've been working really hard on being a team who's difficult to beat. And we're still proving that. And we're still proving that we're not out of games. Even if you're beating us for 80 minutes, we're still going to be in there. And there's still a chance, and there's still a way for us to find a goal. If it's not Salah, if it's not Nunes, if it's not them, there's other players in our team who are going to step up and take a chance if you give him it. And from a right back, we'll take that all day.
Yeah. Andres, I think, 1 point behind Manchester City, 12 games in, roughly. I think start of the season after the year we had, you take that, don't you? Especially with the games we've had: Man City away, Spurs away, Chelsea away. We've got Arsenal and United in the next 2 games as well. So I think you can't, disappointing not to get the win, but the league position is definitely helping that sore them wounds a little bit.
Yeah, with the matches we've had, it's tough not to be happy about just being a point down to City in this situation and forget about. I know that was Arsenal and Tottenham have their game in the hand. I could not care less about where they are in the points compared to us. At the end of the day, we know it comes down to us and City, and eventually Arsenal and Tottenham will just kind of fade away. So being only 1 point below them, and the fact that it's 1 point and we've gotten rid of that game away at the Etihad, we don't have to think about playing that in March when that could be a title decider. Instead, we know the next game is going to be at Anfield. I'm very happy with being just a point down. And we have a few more matches, but the schedule is going to ease up a little bit more. We have more of those gimme wins, those easier home matches. And then we have to look forward to when we play some of these other big clubs, is that we know that we're going to play them at Anfield. And hopefully, those are going to be big nights where we're really going to perform, and pray to God they're not 12:30 kickoffs.
Yeah, thankfully we have no more international breaks until March, so it is just smooth sailing now. I think quote here from Klopp after the game is that we've lost Diogo and Ali. He felt something as well. I think both of them have probably done the hamstring. Alisson's only got himself to blame with the dodgy clearances. If you're on the channel, I'm Alisson's biggest fan, but today was not his best game. But you say that, even in one of his a worst game, he's pulling off unbelievable saves like he did for the Phil Foden shot. But we are going to end that one here, guys. I think we all agree Trent was man of the match. Yeah. No point in debating that. But yeah, guys, make sure you do leave a like on the stream. Also subscribe. We will be live at 7:30 with Richie. So make sure you subscribe with the bell notification on. Dean, Dan, Andres, thank you very much for joining us today. But I've been Charlie. This has been the LFC Transfer